Okay,
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our live stream. Today, we're going to be talking about what's present when Janet shows up. Put your name in that spot. What's present when you show up? So, now what we're going to be referencing, the text for this discussion is The Personal Concept by Margaret Laird. So, a lot of people have asked how they can demonstrate the science of being in practical everyday experience. For example, how do I make the shift in consciousness from a seeming human self to the identity of being?
that's an
So,
actual quote.
so what? Go ahead.
I said, that's an actual quote. That's one of the questions I got.
Yeah, I know. And so we want to define some terms. So we're going to talk idea is used as meaning the actual, the real, the being itself. Okay. So idea is the actual, the real, the being itself. And concept is used as meaning an opinion or belief about being, an interpretation, not the being itself. Okay, so we got idea, which is the being itself. Concept is meaning an opinion or belief about being, okay, not the being itself. Human is a term used for life itself as it appears on this human belief level, okay? And life is living, what you call it is immaterial. All right. So I just want to get some of that out of the way. So just think about those terms. And then the discovery in the realm of physical science that the true essence of substance is energy gives man an entirely new equation to use for the true nature of being. The correct or scientific view of substance identifies it with mind as spiritual energy or thought force. And that's right on page 1 of Personal Concept. So, Betty, how would you like to introduce this particular topic?
Well, when you went quickly through those definitions, defining the terms, that's what makes all the difference. You can't have a concept of nothing. So every time you have a concept, the seen, heard, and felt language universe, in other words, just know that there is an eternal presence there, a divine presence. The God idea in action is there, right there, where you see it and call it Betty or Jim or Henry or an automobile or a chair or you name it. Anything I can see, feel, hear, taste, or touch is a concept, but it would not exist if a divine reality were not present. So that's why we want to define those terms, because you have to be clear about that as we go. And human, it's interesting, but Mrs. Eddy has a thing where she says the conscious human individual honors God as its source. So human has a different, it's sort of a bridge, if you will, between the two. It's idea present in its existing as reality functioning.
Right.
Okay. Did I clarify or mystify?
No, it's clear. It's clear to me that what we've got is conscious human. So conscious human is what Mary Baker Eddy said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I
So
think
when you're
that
consciously aware, there's a divinity shaping your ends.
right. And when you're not consciously aware,
The
then
divinity still shapes your ends, but you don't know the difference.
that's right. So you're still living in the world of objects and human beings and this and that, and right?
Concept.
That
Yeah.
okay. All right, cool. All right, let's dive in. And if at any time y'all have a question, just type it into the question box. We'll bring it up here and we'll discuss. Okay, so don't be shy. If you guys have a question or you want to chime in, please feel free to do that. The other thing that I will say is that I would love, if you're on Facebook, a thumbs up would be great, a heart would be great. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, get notifications. That helps us get more of the word out and more of this video seen. So just wanted to go through that. All right, so diving in. On personal concept, page 2, in the full effulgence of truth, mankind finds that it has no reflected world, nor a phenomenal or shadow world to deal with. The idea, the thing itself, is all there is. Okay. Anything more you want to say about that?
Well, your view doesn't exist except as you see it.
Right.
So, it traces back to all of the things that Ms. Laird said about we are the world we walk through.
Yeah.
You don't walk through my world. I do. And my world is up to me. What your world looks like, I have no idea.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And in Science and Health, starting on page 126, line 5, Mary Baker Eddy said it this way: mortality, conceptual beliefs, will cease when man beholds himself God's reflection.
Yeah.
So mortality will cease when man beholds himself God's reflection. So when you see yourself as God's reflection, you hold yourself to be that, that's when conceptual beliefs cease.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what people call miracles happening or healings or jobs found or any kind of a solution to a problem is reality occurring because you've been able to let go of your concept enough for it to emerge.
Okay. All right. And in your book, Mind is the Athlete, on page 106, you say it this way: begin with an idea beyond the realm of the physical universe and notice immediately that language shows up. You can't have a concept of nothing.
Yep.
So when you begin with an idea beyond the realm of the physical universe, give me an example.
Say that again.
I'm just reading the first part. It's that you said begin with an idea beyond the realm of the physical universe.
Yeah.
What would that be beyond the realm of the physical universe? An idea beyond the realm of the physical universe. Give me an example.
Okay. Love meets the human need.
Okay. All right, cool. So something that's just not material, something that's not physical. It's an idea.
Idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then notice immediately the language shows up. So yeah, we all have a concept of love. And that's not love the way we're talking about it.
It's where you start.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Say more about that.
The concept of love is like a real dim view, but what's present is love.
Right. Because is it true that if you're tied into your concept of love, then you're as much in love as hate?
Yeah. The concept is always in the paradox realm.
Right. So you have as much of one as the other if what you're holding on to is a concept rather than love that encompasses all of that.
Yeah. It's kind of like love isn't going to let you get away with hanging on to something and thinking it's love. So if you're hanging on to your concept of love, it's going to make you uncomfortable. It's going to show up as hate.
Okay.
And when you let go of that concept, then you have the feel.
And so you just allow it all to be. That would be letting go, right? Be willing to have it be exactly the way it's showing up and exactly the way it's not showing up.
Yeah, just leave it alone.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. When you leave the view alone, it isn't going to cease to be around, but it no longer dominates your experience.
Right. Okay. Very good. And a little bit more on that. You say language manifests correlative to our own highest concept of the idea. So break that down a little bit.
Well, your language world, if you exist anywhere, and my language world are not the same.
Okay.
because my language world will always identify the highest sense of things of which I'm aware.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
don't just have a slapstick thing to work with here. This is the best I know. And there's always more to go.
Right. So basically, language manifests in our point of view, we could say, because that's our language, is our point of view of the one reality, shows up the way it does. And the way it shows up for me, I can see that, but I have no idea the way it shows up for you.
Right. And the other thing is that when we complain, it's because we are dealing with our own concept as it shifts, because we no longer are at the level of the one we saw 5 minutes ago or 2 days ago or last year or whatever.
Right.
Do you know? You find your language is always shifting, because what it is feedback on where you are with regard to every single item that shows up on the language level for you.
Okay.
It's never the way it is. This is the way I see it right now. And right now.
Okay. And we just lost Betty, who will join us again in just a moment. So while she's getting back on, we will continue on. And I'm just going to check with her to make sure she knows that she is off the call. So just a minute. And we'll see. She knows how to get back on. So stand by. I'm calling her. That was really fast. She's not ringing. All right. So bear with me for just a minute. This hasn't happened ever, I don't think. Yeah, you fell off the call. Just click back in. Mm-hmm. Okay. You can just click on the link in the email. Okay. See you in a few minutes. And you're online, right? Okay. Here you are. Okay. Goodbye.
Sorry.
All right. So Betty's back. Sorry about that little interlude. That's the first time that's ever happened. And we've got a ton of videos out here. So anyways, always a new experience. Okay.
I touched the computer. I'm backing off.
Okay. So in Personal Concept, Margaret Laird wrote, mind revealing itself as form, outline, beauty is the creation as revelation beheld on the 5 sense level, showing up as language we understand. I think we've just said this, but let's reiterate it just a little bit. Just break that down, Mom.
Okay, well, mind revealing itself as form, outline, beauty is the creation, and it's beheld on the level that I live.
Mm-hmm.
So my sense of beauty and form and outline and so on is not going to be your sense of it.
Right.
You live your world as you are. We live, all of us, we live the world as we are, not as it is.
Right.
Perfection's present. I'm living it, calling myself Betty. We move along, but there I am.
Right.
So if I understand that, I'm not going to confuse what's going on with me as the God idea, I'm going to understand that it's simply my best view of the God idea. And so if I get sufficiently uncomfortable, I start saying, wait a minute, what are you buying into that has you think this Betty business is not okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so I begin to start bit by bit looking to see if I'm acknowledging the spiritual fact of being the best I know.
Mm-hmm.
If I am, then I just say, okay, as Margaret used to say, I don't know why it looks that way, the hell with it. And
Right.
on I go.
Yeah.
I literally don't sit around and fuss with it. It may make me uncomfortable. I fuss about that, but on I go.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Very good. And again, if anyone has any questions, just go ahead and type those into the comments and we'll take them up. In Science and Health, Mary Baker Eddy on page 121, starting on line 22, says it this way: science shows appearances often to be erroneous and corrects these errors by the simple rule that the greater controls the lesser.
That's a mouthful, isn't it?
Right. So break that down a little bit.
Yeah, well, continuing on in that same sentence and paragraph that Kim just read part of, Mrs. Eddy wrote, the sun is the central stillness so far as our solar system is concerned. And the earth revolves about the sun once a year, besides turning daily on its own axis. So there's a lot of action going on, you know? The earth is doing its thing. And despite all of that, the sun is the central stillness of the universe. Okay, so then I just was thinking to myself, well, then mind, the God idea, is the central stillness for humanity. All is infinite mind. Oh, okay. So I still go on and eat breakfast and do my thing, drive the car and go to the store and so on. But the central stillness is divine mind. And that's the presence that has me show up calling myself Betty.
Yeah, I like that, the central stillness, because when I can return to, I can get all caught up in the language and this and that and my opinions and other people's opinions and all that. But then when I return to only perfection present and I get the facts, there is a stillness that then is very present.
Yep.
Like all the noise just quiets down.
Yep.
So I like this notion of central stillness.
Yep.
And the central stillness for humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's I love that. All right. And then Mind is the Athlete on page 106, you say it this way: all concepts are being/reality self-expressed.
That's right.
So all concepts are self-expressed?
All concepts are being self-expressed.
Okay.
Concepts have no power to self-express them.
Right. That's what okay. I get it.
Yeah, it's being self-expressing. And I have the concept, the best view I've got.
Mm-hmm.
And it's far short of what being is. But it's a lot better than what humanity looks like in the sense of stillness or freedom or joy.
Right.
You know, we tend to think that something makes us happy. And Mrs. Laird used to jump all over me when she heard something like that. She says, Betty, you're happy whether you know it or not. Don't blame it on going to the movies or reading a book or going out to dinner with your friend. Joy constitutes your being. So if you go out and cry over it, you're still happy. I don't worry about your happiness.
Right. So joy encapsulates that whole paradox of happy, sad.
Yep. Reality encapsulates the whole thing.
Right.
No matter how I see it. That's why I learned to leave the view of it alone, because that's going to shift all the time.
Right. And to the degree we can leave the view of it alone, the degree to which we have dominion over our world, which then harkens back to last week's episode that we talked about spiritual math.
There you go.
and operating at your full potential. So if you haven't watched that yet, go back and watch that. All right. And then Margaret Laird writes on page 2 of Personal Concept. She goes on to say, everything is going on as mind self-identified or as the conscious identity of being yourself.
Yeah, it's yourself. So mind is going on as yourself.
Okay.
God being is what's present as yourself. Reality is what's present as Betty
Okay.
in her world.
All right.
It's all reality present. There's
Right.
nothing else to be present. All is an infinite mind. Everything else is a point of view.
Right.
No substance, no reality to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The personal concept must not be accepted as if it were something in itself. In science, we neither pray nor confirm nor affirm the personal concept, but recognize that the seeing and the seen is one, and that one is the seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So only one thing going on.
That's right.
And it's
We
all
say
perfection.
one
It's
time,
all what it's all what I call perfection functioning.
There you go.
Okay.
Love meeting the human need.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
In Science and Health on page 495, starting on line 15, Mary Baker Eddy wrote it this way. When the illusion of sickness or sin tempts you, you cling steadfastly to mind and its idea.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
when we get tempted to grouse about the look of things, cling steadfastly to
It's
mind
actually
and its
present.
idea. Yeah.
Don't be fooled by the picture, in other words.
Yeah.
Just let it be the picture. What's
Right.
present is reality.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. And let neither fear nor doubt overshadow your clear sense and calm trust that the recognition of life harmonious can destroy any painful sense of or belief in that which life is not.
Yep. That's Mrs. Eddy too.
Yep. Yep.
We didn't put the source down, but it's also from 495.
Okay. In Science and Health. Very
Yes.
good. So what we're saying is what's present when Janet, when Betty, when Kim shows up
Yep.
is mind, conscious awareness, divinity present, looking all the ways that it looks.
When anything shows up, reality is present because nothing else shows up.
Nothing else exists.
Yeah. Nothing else has any presence.
Okay, cool. All right, I get that. All right. And then in your book, Mind is the Athlete, on page 106 to 107, you say, so long as I discern myself to exist in language, there are boundaries to my experience of any idea. In and of itself, language has no meaning. It is a reflective view of its source, the God idea.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you were to answer what's present when Janet, when Betty, when Kim, insert your own name, what's present when Janet shows up? What would you say?
I'd say what shows up is reality, the way I see it.
Okay, very good. All right. Cool. Now there is one thing that I want to talk about, and that's coming up on July 18th and 19th. Betty is going to be doing a live cast, and it's entitled 24/7 Science Alert, Living Science Moment by Moment. So tell us a little bit about what that's going to cover. It's going to be held from 6 to 8 p.m. on the 18th and on the 19th. So it'll be an evening live cast. And you can register.
No, it's from 4 to 6 Pacific time, Kim.
I had it from 6 to 8.
No, 4 to 6 Pacific time.
Oh, my bad. I translated it into that. My bad. Hang on. I shall fix it right now.
All right. But the idea was we have never done anything in the evening. And we had a couple of requests for something that people could do when they weren't at work. So this will be a 2-hour, 2 evenings in a row
Right.
discussion on how we deal with the news and the economic and the climate change and the political situation and the paying the bills and managing the children and getting dinner every night and all the stuff that daily takes our attention.
Right.
There is a way to just walk right through that with science for your vision.
Right.
And we've heard a lot about that, but I thought I'd just take it on as a subject in itself for
Right.
that live cast.
Right. So with science, the discernment of spiritual facts to inform us in daily confronting our own perception as we walk on, we have the opportunity to step outside the temptation to feel helpless and hopeless and allow the view to be the clue to our own self-perception. So this is your opportunity to sign up for 2 evenings with Betty, doing this and talking, and where you'll be able to interact and directly with Betty during those 2 evenings.
It'll be on Zoom.
Pardon me?
It'll be on Zoom.
Yeah, via Zoom. So it'll be live via Zoom. And so if you can register to reserve your seat by going to scientificmetaphysics.org/livecast. And in case when you get out there, you see 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific, it will change because it's really 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific. So please know that on July 18th and 19th, 2023. So that's when it's going to be. We're just a little bit out from that. And right now there's a special discount that will end at the end of the month for you to register early. So that's what we have coming up here. Anything more you want to say about it? Because what we saw, and this was a request that we've had multiple times from people saying, yeah, but, and you get in these conversations like we all do today, and we all have an opinion about it all, and we're all looking at this, and it's like, well, okay, so now what's that science view? How do I keep that present and walk right through all of this? No matter what your belief is, no matter what, what side of the spectrum you're on, whatever, but it's like, what all's going on there? And how do you just walk through that with power and dominion?
Good.
So that's what we're going to be looking at. So if that interests you, go ahead and register. I'd love to see you there. And right now, that's the end of what we have to talk about in the subject, what's present when you show up. So that's what we've got. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you again next week at 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Central. And until then, go check out the live cast and reserve your seat. All right.
Thank you, Kim.
We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.